Good morning, I hope you're having an absolutely fantastic day. Now, I bought a new record the other day, and if you follow me on Instagram, then you will have seen it, and in the caption I say that it's the most expensive record that I've ever bought. Previously, the title of my most expensive record had gone to my limited edition, remastered from the original analog tapes, Dances with Wolves score by John Barry. This cost me £89. Now, that was my most expensive record, but that has now been surpassed by a very, very different kind of record, and that is Sky Sailing, An Airplane Carried Me to Bed. I spent about £120 on this piece of vinyl, and it's a very strange album to spend that much money on. It's not like it's some limited edition Led Zeppelin or King Crimson record that all the vinyl snobs will be going mad over. There's nothing particularly prestigious about this record, and a lot of people would probably not like this at all and would turn their nose up and would be amazed if they knew that I'd spent that much money on this album. But it kind of got me thinking about the reason why people spend money on music, vinyl specifically, and at what point are you spending too much money on something. So I just want to talk about that a little bit. And as you can see, you know, I'm a big fan of buying music on vinyl. I love collecting records. It's one of my favorite hobbies. If you could call enjoying music a hobby, I don't really think it's a hobby. It's kind of more just a almost intrinsic part of human nature, but whatever. Anyway, I like buying records. I spend my money on them and I think it's worthwhile, but when does it get too much, and at what point is it actually not worthwhile buying that record? So the way I see it is there are two reasons why people buy music on vinyl and why they are willing to spend their money on records. The first reason is to listen to it, whether or not you're a fan of the artist or not, or if it's something that you've never heard before. You buy a vinyl because you want to listen to it, you want to hear that music and make a judgment on it, enjoy the memories that it brings up, enjoy discovering something new, you know, whatever. But primarily you buy the music so you can listen to it. The second reason is as an investment, and you'll get people who will buy records, never open them, never touch them, and just keep them in the hope that in the future they'll be able to sell them for more money. I don't like that. I understand why people do it, but I always think that if you're an artist, the only reason you would ever put your music out there, especially on vinyl, is because you wanted people to listen to it. I've never really understood it when people buy a record purely to have it on display and to leave it in its packaging. There are much more lucrative investments that you could make if you're purely about making money. I just always think that if I released some music on vinyl, I would kind of not like the idea that someone had just bought it to just have it hidden away somewhere and hopefully they'll sell it later on. I feel like music is made to be listened to and enjoyed, so I would never buy a record, even if I spend loads of money on it, that I have no intention of listening to. I mean, I haven't listened to this yet, but that's because I'm waiting for the perfect moment when I can sit down, maybe with a few friends, and have a drink and just play this and just listen to the whole thing all the way through. But I 100% purchased this with the full intention of listening to it, and listening to it a lot, and I'm sure that over the next however many years I live for, this will get a lot of play. And it's exactly the same with this one. I've already listened to it, you know. I don't buy music that I don't want to listen to. But that being said, £100 is a lot of money to spend, and some people don't understand why I would be willing to spend that much money on an album that's available on so many other platforms for a fraction of the price. But to me, I find so much value in owning a physical copy of the music, and it's a tangible thing, and you can feel it and you can hold it and you can look at the artwork, and you know, that's really valuable to me. And it may seem really, really silly to some people, and that's fine, it probably is silly. If you're going to spend a huge amount of money on a record, you need to kind of assess a few different things about it. Firstly, are you planning to sell it at any point? I would never go out of my way to try and buy records purely with the intent of selling them on, because like I said, I like to listen to the music that I buy. Fucking fly. Number two, can you actually afford it? Is it going to give you enough value and worth to potentially have to live quite frugally for the rest of the month afterwards if you buy it? Is it worth living frugally for the sake of having this record? And number three, which I think is the most important thing to consider, is it worth enough to you on a sort of emotional level? I didn't buy this for the music. I bought this because of the emotional response I have to the music, because of the memories that this album creates. This was the album that I was listening to when I was 17, 18 years old, head over heels in love with, you know, my first love, effectively. All of the songs on here take me straight back to that time. That's why I got this. I didn't get this because the music on here is so good, I think it's worth that much to me. I got this because I think the way that this makes me feel and the emotional response that this can kind of solicit in me is worth that much. And not just in the present, but at any point in the future, for the rest of my life. It doesn't matter if my iTunes library gets wiped, if Spotify goes bankrupt or whatever, I will always own this, and I will always be able to put this on and go back to that kind of happier, less adult, less responsible time in my life when you know, the music on this record really, really spoke to me on a very profound level, which it still does, but it does that now because of the memories that I already have associated with the music. It's an absolutely beautiful record as well, look at that. And that's the thing, if you weigh up all of those factors and you still want it and you still think that it's gonna give you that value, then fuck yeah, you should buy it. It'll be with you for the rest of your life. You can pass it on to your children when you're older and they'll probably criticize you for having such awful taste in music. The other thing that kind of influenced me on buying this was just knowing that it existed. I did not know that this was ever pressed on vinyl, and it was only when I was looking for an image of the album cover for my last video that I saw a picture of this on a record player, and I can remember thinking that someone had probably photoshopped it, and then I saw a couple of others when I actually searched for Sky Sailing vinyl on Google Images. So I realized that actually, wait a minute, this is legit, this actually exists. How the hell do I get one of these? Because I just have to own one. And I did some research and I found some threads on Reddit, and there were people on there saying that they'd waited 2 years to find one for sale, and I went on Discogs not expecting it to be there, and there was just one for sale, and it was $150, and that was when I kind of had to go through this whole thought process. Definitely made the right choice. And just as a quick shout out, if by some crazy coincidence Joseph Lee from Rochester is watching this, thank you so much for selling me that record, because it's awesome, and thank you for negotiating on the price as well. So there we go, those are some of my thoughts on the process of spending a large amount of money on a piece of vinyl. I'd love to know what some of you think, if you disagree or agree with anything that I've said. What's your most expensive record? Let me know all of that down in the comment section. But yeah, I think if something is worth enough to you emotionally, then you should purchase it, because it's not an investment in the sense that you're investing financially in something, but you're investing in the sort of musical happiness of your future in a way, although that's a really, really naff way of saying it. But yeah, music is great, this album is great, and that's pretty much it. Anyway, sorry that this hasn't been a particularly coherent video, I didn't script anything for it. Thank you so much for watching, I really hope you've enjoyed this, and like I said, let me know all of your thoughts down in the comment section. Have an absolutely fantastic day, and I will see you very soon.